Who have we got here? Beth and Iris. Good morning. Welcome. I just finished eating a hamburger patty breakfast. Nice bowls this lady has. I think they were IKEA bowls. Yeah, they were IKEA bowls. I'm still house sitting. The woman who owns this house, God bless her for being able, wanting to get her break and being able to let me house sit for her. What an incredible blessing this has been. It has been cold and raining a few days. Oh, and it's slippery as crap outside. Anyways, good morning. Coffee made with Folgers coffee bags and goat's milk powder. Yes. And so I'm having coffee with y'all this morning. So welcome to Simply Live with me, SimplyLesa. I keep feeling like I should change all of that, but most people who know me have gotten used to the SimplyLesa name. So, my name Lesa spelled Lesa. That was my mom's fault, right? Okay, that was a tease, not a anything. But my mom named me that. What I came with. Okay, let's see what's going on. I heard, so welcome Beth and Iris. Iris, I see that you're in Flagstaff, or you've been in Flagstaff. I've been seeing that on Facebook. Oh my gosh, girl, I can't wait to meet up with you. We have such an online history. It's going to be nice to meet up with you at some point. This collar is kind of, let's flip it that way. Oh, that's a good idea. Wait, then I'll have another taster drink. Here we go. Do that. Flip it that way, and then it won't be in my face. Whew, I am getting rested. Can you tell? You can hear me okay, people? Well, you know what? I'm wondering if the connection is good sitting here. Well, being on live chat would be helpful. Do I have it all set up? Live chat. Can you hear me? There we go, Beth. Hi, good morning. I was sort of wondering, is something going to come up, or I may have a weak signal. If it is, it's not scrolling for me, but if y'all have trouble, it could be, because I'm at this other house and whatever. Look how my hair grows fast. I have a lot of hair. There's no point in cutting it. It grows too fast. I mean, I tried short doesn't work. I've tried some other braids that are a little softer and nicer, but when I'm stressed out, who's got time? I'm a little too practical. Thank you, Beth. So I kind of love this coffee mug that was at her house. It's stainless steel, and it has like a plastic liner. I'm getting a message. I did not. Let me fix this. I'm going to bring you all closer for a minute. Let me first make all the sounds go off on my phone. And second, G just sent me. Oh, okay. All right. I had texted G this morning. Marcus read. I had texted G this morning. He's starting to move around and is on the other side of this mountain range from me, is kind of California. And he's over there. And I had texted him with if I can get out of here soon, is it possible we could buddy travel our way, part way at least, down? So there's some developments that I've been kind of holding out on. Good morning, Betty Joe. I've been holding out because I'm unsure about this whole thing, except I think I'm doing it. Yes, I made a weird funny face on purpose. So, well, first off, let's get these things out of the way. If you have questions, you girls already know, please put 3 uppercase Q's first so I notice it as it's scrolling on me. This little tripod and things that I have right now are helping a tremendous amount. I didn't bring the tall tripod. Okay, G, I didn't turn that off. So I'm getting messages flashing at me right now. Hi, Babs. So please remember to give me thumbs up. It helps the algorithm thing. Subscribe if you want to. You probably already subscribe. Become a member if you would like to. I do have super chats and super thanks. I appreciate them. Cash App works better. It's in descriptions on my videos. I am going to put my post office box back out there and some other things. I just, the stress of what I've been going through this past 3 months, as well as other things. Sometimes when I'm under certain amounts of stress, I just don't spend the time playing around on the phone. And honestly, y'all, I'm not big into all the computer work and the phone stuff. I tell you that all the time. So if somebody ever wants to take over that, I'd probably let them. And I appreciate everything you all have done over years, helping me out along the way, because, just like you, being low income, this stuff's not easy. Living in vehicles is not necessarily cheap. You can make it cheap, but you have to really be consistent, work at it. So I am going to get to be traveling soon. I am not going to get to be able to have my tracker yet. Okay, yeah. Ask me questions. What do you want to know? So the things that I put out on the description of today's video was, why is this taking so long? And I know that Mike listens to these, the mechanic listens to these later. I want everybody to be super, super, super respectful of this talented, super talented mechanic. Where I broke down is here's why it's taking so freaking long. Okay? I broke down 4 hours kind of north of Vegas and 4 hours south of Reno. I broke down in a place called the Smoky Mountains. It's an hour to south to Tonopah, and it's 2 hours north to the town named Fallon. I'm in a very remote, rural area. Now, the house I'm staying at here and the mechanic shop, they are on power poles, and they have dug wells so they have water systems and they have power available to them. I broke down in like halfway up Highway 376. And if you look on a map, it's very rural and remote. What is this? Oh, it's a glare shining off something behind me that I just noticed in the frame, in the picture. What is that? Oh, maybe it's that star up in that up in that doorway. Okay. Hi, Mary. Good to see you. So the big reasons for why it's taking so long is the location I'm in. Just like or similar to the location of my property, deliveries like UPS and FedEx and things like that do not come every day. And any delivery has to come from some bigger town and go through like some other system in order to get to this location, to be moved from one area, get around the mountains that separate Nevada and California, and then get around that set of mountains to get over here, and then go around this. So deliveries do not come easily. They do in this area, similar to like Concho in Apache County. In this area, they have the ability to have water, and they have the ability to have power, and they can get mail delivery to a mailbox. They can get UPS and FedEx deliveries, but it takes time. So location is the first thing, first big reason. The second big reason is I'm on an incredibly tight budget. And even being able to have a car and a piece of property on my budget is incredibly blessed. Is that the right? I don't know other words for it. Hi, Jeremy. I'm glad you're here. Jeremy, I can't wait to see y'all. I hope you're feeling well. I know you've been through quite a bit lately, but it's so nice that you have support. It sounded like you sounded well when we spoke the other day. Skipper Doodle too. Hey, Skipper Doodle. Yeah, thank you. I can see the stress in my skin. And yet I know that I'm healing incredibly. Y'all know, well, I'm kind of skipping around this morning in some of this. And Shane too. Y'all know that in December last year, I can't remember if it was December 23rd or December 26th, that I started the Lion Diet, which is a very strict carnivore diet to try and heal the MS, or at least put it in permanent remission or something. So I did strict Lion Diet correctly by the book for 4 months. Then I played around a little bit with, played around a little bit with carnivore diet and animal-based diet. Now, there are reasons why I played around with that. And some of it was my budget. Some of it was that I was traveling around other people and I was feeling left out. I was feeling like I have nothing I can share with anybody, because on my budget, I can't afford to buy somebody else's steak, right? And I was really struggling with how to do this and travel, not spend all my money, and be social. And then I broke down on my birthday in June. Y'all know that story. So then I've been in this place where both my income and the fact that I didn't have any way to get to food, I have had to find a way to do carnivore in an emergency style, because my ability to get to a grocery store has been limited to, is there a vehicle I can get in and go to the store and get back? Is there somebody somewhere that I can ask them to buy something for me? Can I send my bank card with the wife when she's taking the kids to soccer practice and let her buy food from me? Will she know how to do what I need on my budget? Because yeah, people are all on budgets, but it's different. And I mentioned to some of you diet-wise, some people, some people are very much kind of standard American diet people and are still using things like Kool-Aid and white sugar and white bread and things like that. And I haven't done that in so many years. It's a different experience. So all that being said, as far as my diet goes, and somebody saying that, I'm looking good, thank you. But there's a little work to do, but I'm healing my body. I have been in complete MS remission for 2.5 months. I have had not one leg cramp, not one. My leg is acting weird. My left side is the one that was affected more. Nothing in 2.5 months. So please remember, I'm in a rural area and my responses and replies and my signal might be slow, retarded, something. But it appears to be working. So ask me questions, people. I will certainly tell you what's going on. So I've been, so it's been raining here and it snowed up in the mountains yesterday. Like we thought we were getting snow here, and it's possible in a couple of days to get snow right here. This woman's house is about a mile away from this house where I'm house sitting is about a mile away from the shop where the tracker is. I have been blessed. This the woman who owns the house is returning on Tuesday morning. So with all the rain, I got to sweep her house from the, I left my shoes at the door and then banged them off, but there's dry mud where I've walked. And so I have to sweep her house to clean up for her. I'll be doing that tomorrow in preparation for her coming back on Tuesday morning. And then she has told me that she's decided that I can sleep here a few more days while there's a transition coming up. And she's concerned about the cold nights and me sleeping in the tracker. And so we'll figure that out for a few nights. And then she's on her way to Cottonwood, Arizona, like on Saturday or something. So it's been a really full, busy week. I just noticed my notes and I want to go back and restate clearly why it's taking so long for this repair. I thought I did a pretty good job, but I want to just make sure I hit all the points. And all the points are, it's taking so long because of the remote rural location. The ability to get parts, because it's easier to get parts for my particular tracker outside of the United States. There are some parts available, but not everything. So we chose after I bought the new to me engine and we found out the block was good in it, we talked it all, rehashed everything going on with the tracker. We decided it's better because we can't buy a new block and getting a new engine or a rebuilt engine is impossible these days. We decided it was better to let Mike, the mechanic here at Boss Customs, to let him rebuild my engine. He does not have a machine shop. He does not have the machine shop tools. He would be capable, but he doesn't have that equipment. Most all the machine shops within an hour or two of him have closed down in the last year because the machine shop guys were older. They were home businesses in the shop in the back over at the ranch or whatever else. And, or they were renting shop space, and the shop space being so expensive, they couldn't continue. So they closed their shops. So we had found a machine shop 4 hours away in Reno, another one 4 hours away in Vegas. And there was talk of the possibility of one 2 hours away in Fallon. Now, understand that Mike is a very extremely talented, certified, he went to school for, he has 5 or 6 certifications on the wall. He's a certified mechanic. And so I think I'm saying the right terms. He went to school to be a mechanic and he's good. He specializes in custom restorations, like of 1930 and 40 and 50 cars. I mean, he can rebuild carburetors and all kinds of things. I mean, I've seen him do some serious custom work. And so he's really good at that, but he has no employees currently. He can't afford employees at the moment. So he's running the shop alone, and I'm on a very tight budget. And he's extremely capable and talented. When we found out that the engine we bought was not actually turnkey, couldn't just be dropped in and I could drive away, then we decided together, with phone calls to Jeremy and my other mechanic buddies, that he's going to get the engine rebuilt for me. But in order to save money, he's going to do some stuff so that, one, he can check the machine shop's work when it returns, so he's sure they do what they're telling him, but also to try to safely have me back on the road with the tracker. So and the extra work that he does can save money at the machine shop. When the engine goes to the machine shop, it's going to cost about $900 for them to do the things they have to do. Has to do with reseating valves and resurfacing the head. I think we could buy a new head, but it would be $600 and it's going to the machine shop anyways. And the resurfacing is a minor thing. It's not bad. And so, and then the other thing is I think it's one of the piston walls or something needs to be rebored. And so he's having all of that checked and carefully done when it goes. I found a shop, like I said, up in Reno that already has all the equipment because he works on trackers already. But he hardly ever, when I spoke to him, hardly ever sees the 16 valve engine that I have. So I'm trusting Mike to get my engine rebuilt, which will be around $900. And then to reinstall it, which will be about another $900. Unfortunately, all of this will take time. And in order for him to help me the way it needs to be done, he has to work on other things that make him more money so that he can keep his own vehicles running and so he could stay in business. It can't be only my vehicle. Now, if I had lots of money and we could just throw money at it, he would have rented a truck already and he would have had it up at a shop and it would be all over with. But I haven't got it like that. So a couple weeks ago, the tie rod went on his shop car. So he's got to fix that before he can make a 4-hour drive or a 2-hour drive. So this is why it's taking so long. So he's had other vehicles, like I showed y'all the Corvette that was in there. And he got that project done and paid for it and on its way. He's working on an older Class A motorhome restoration, and I helped him some. I'm not a mechanic, but I can hold the other end of some wire and help with some things. I helped him some as he was repairing an Onan generator in that Class A. And in fact, I hooked him up with Jeremy on the phone so that Jeremy could help answer a question. He was having trouble finding something. And then I hooked him up with G because G used to work for Tesla. And G knows a lot about electronics. And so they also talked. So let's see. So that's why it's taking so long. So in the meantime, a neighboring widow, and I'm not sure how long ago the widow's husband passed, but a neighboring widow said to me, "You're the only person that I've ever known that would be interested in this car that was my husband's. I just don't have the heart to look at that car anymore. I mean, I loved my husband and he's gone. And every time I see it, I think of him. And it needs a couple of small things. I think I'm going to help you find a way to to get this. So let's fix a couple of small things and let's get you on the road with that car. Did y'all hear what I just said? So sometime by maybe Thursday, I'm still kind of blown away, and I haven't seen the vehicle yet, but for a few $100s, it looks like I'm going to be able to possibly be mobile by next week. Now that will prolong, because of my income, that will prolong a little bit the amount of time I'll have to have enough money to pay Mike when he gets my engine rebuilt and reinstalled. But it also will give Mike and Boss Custom, the shop, it will allow them to work on it when they can and take their time and be as careful as they want to be for me, so that when it's finished, they can take their time and work on it instead of it being, come on, Lisa's in the backyard, we got to get that out of here. You know, she's going to freeze to death or something. You know, it can relieve the stress for them so they can work on it as they are able and fit it in between jobs that help them keep their business going. I hope that I'm explaining this in a way that you all can understand. But Mike has a family, and the wife works 40 miles away, and the kids go to school in the town 40 miles away. And their car needs to be kept up and maintained really well. And if he's stressed too much, he can only do so much. I mean, you know, each of us, we can only do so much. So, yes, pray for Mike and his family, that they find the peace and the way and the extra, you know, if he could get in a few oil changes, which are not his specialty, but he'd have the extra quick money to like do some things for himself. But, you know, at the moment, he's just trying to like keep things rolling so he can do what he's good at. And being able to relieve the stress for all of us, I just see it as, hi, Bernie. I just see it as a wonderful, wonderful blessing that is being thrown at me that relieves stress and pressure on the whole situation. So pray about this, that there's no major things, because I haven't even seen this vehicle. I have no idea what shape the tires are in or when the oil was changed last, how many months it's been sitting up at somebody else's house. I have no idea. So let's pray that this is like as incredible as it already is. It is a capable four-wheel drive. It's actually another Chevy Tracker, but it's a four-wheel drive and it's a 2002. Uh-oh. Maybe I wasn't supposed to tell you that. It went offline for a second. But anyways, so it's a four-door. It's a little bit bigger than my Tracker, but it's a capable four-wheel drive, automatic, whatever. So let's just pray about this car being like, that it's a blessing that's being brought to me, that there's no major issues with it, and that it'll be able to make an 11-hour trip back home. And that, you know, I don't have to put too much money into it to be able to maneuver, so that I can save the money appropriate for Mike as soon as he can get my Tracker finished. Now, some of you know Tina Zenquest. She offered to be my ride to come back and get it. I've been in contact with her, but we haven't been able to talk on the phone. And I was telling her about how it was supposed to snow, and she's like, oh no, do I need tire chains? And I was like, relax. Something's come up, but I don't want to tell you too quick. And it looks like we might not need to come back in November. We might be able to come back in the spring or something. I don't know the answer to when, but this will relieve some pressure and allow me to pull together. You know, I'm going to need this is silly, right? I'm going to need 2 batches of $900, one for paying the machine shop and one for installation. And I don't know how many more auto parts we need for the tracker. But when I get the tracker back, it should be like having a brand new car, with a brand new engine. And well, not a brand new car, but you know what I mean. The engine will be so new that it should go a long ways and do really well. And I have not explored a couple other things that I would really like to have done, since Mike does restorations and it's technically an antique. I might ask him to do a couple of things that I don't know how to do on my own at this point, and I might not. But he and I were already talking about offset steel rims, because the rims on my tracker are actually aluminum. And with the lift kit and the different tires on the tracker, my particular tracker, when I make a tight left side turn, so toward the driver's side turn, the inner wall of the tire rubs on the frame. And I don't like the sound, for one. It's not really great for the sidewalls of your tires. It doesn't happen very often. But also, with it being just a little bit taller, and it's not much, sometimes it feels like it's not top heavy, because I don't put stuff on top of it really, but it just feels like the stability could be better. And when I explored that conversation with Mike over time and with some other people, Mike, when he was when he was working on the Corvette he had in the shop, he was able to show me what offset rims were. Oh, I'm saying offset rims, offset wheels. He said he used the term wheels. So I didn't understand what they were. Basically, they're the rims the tires go on. And they make them where the bolt-on part is at different spacing. So depending on your need for how the car works, you can get the spacing in a place that either pushes your wheel out a little bit or in a little bit, depending on your need. And so now that I understand that better, I'm like, I want a set of those. They're another $400 or $600, something like that. So I'll be definitely adding that on as we do this. So, okay. Do I need to repeat, because Bernie came in later, do I need to repeat the announcement of kind of what's happening? I will be, I'll film some things and take pictures so I can do some videos on YouTube about it. But I don't want to jump the gun. And like I said, I've never even seen this vehicle. So, but it is another Chevy Tracker. It's just a second. So mine is a first gen body style, which is the coveted body style because it looks like a mini Jeep. And so the one that I'm working on getting is a second gen, has a different engine, and is a 4-door 4-wheel drive automatic. So it's capable. Okay. So with that information coming at us, I then, because of the financial situation of taking some $100 to probably get this different vehicle and things, I have written a very detailed, it took me a couple of days to, okay, so I finally got my little traveler's journal books. They're craft paper, inexpensive. I like blank books. I can scribble and I can write too big and draw pictures and whatever. And so I did a whole mess of scribbling, like working out finances and thinking about how is this going to work? Can I afford to do this? Yeah, right. And so Okay, Betty Joe, thank you. Thank you, thank you. I keep praying for you, Betty Joe. I hope I get to see you again soon. I know our styles sometimes a little different, but I love you, girl. And thank you for being there and being a support to me all these years. Um, so I was doing the financial running around in my brain and thinking and all of that, and wrote this really detailed email to the HAWA Emergency Fund. So it's Tracy with the HAWA Emergency Fund. Uh, oh, I know what I mean, but that's the basic HAWA Emergency Fund, Homes on Wheels Alliance Emergency Fund. So I sent them an email explaining that a change is coming and that I understand that by doing this vehicle that's coming at me, by choosing to take this vehicle on, that will take me out of risk on the road, and so at risk of being homeless on the road, which is basically where I'm at right now. And so that I understand that may make it so that I don't qualify for the help that they've already set aside for me. But that what I would prefer at this point is if they could help me with any repairs that come up to the vehicle that will take me out of this risk situation. And then at the end of it, did a total breakdown of this is how much money I have. I didn't I didn't put in this is how much I've already spent, but I put in this is what I got, this is my budget, this is how I'm going to eat and everything. And then at the end, if I do all this on my own, I have $20 left for my trip. And I'm uncomfortable driving away with only $20 in my pocket. And so, could you guys please approve to help me some so that I can have more than $20 in my pocket when I drive away from this situation. So I have not got an answer yet. That'll probably take a good. It'll probably be after like I don't know Thursday or something. You know, business days. It'll take a few days before I hear from them. So hopefully that can work out. Uh, at least it will free up the money that they set aside to help me with the engine install for somebody else who's needy. So if nothing else, it does that. And it's the right thing to do. So I informed them. What else has happened? Let's see. Oh, y'all, I've started to talk about how I've been talking to my son lately. And we're still communicating. Yay. It's really good. Of course, time heals a lot of things. So, guys, please don't forget thumbs up and stuff. That does help some algorithms so that I noticed when I have hooked on to this woman's TV. Well, hooked on. I have gotten on her TV here, and she has rural internet. And when I get on YouTube on the TV and I log in as a guest, I looked for SimplyLesa once and it brings it up more. So those algorithms will help it show up. So thank you for doing thumbs up for me. I really appreciate it. And thank you for just coming back and being consistent. Even if we don't have a lot of people, just the consistency. You know, I'm very much aware that this really isn't about making money. I am so blessed that you guys help me when I need it and when you're able. But you know, we're all in the same boat. So trying to do what we can do. So y'all know that I've been talking to my son and his wife, and now I've gotten to talk to the 6-month-old, 7-month-old baby that was born while I was in Baja. Riley is her name, and it's so different for me. But having the experience, let me just say, having the experience of being around Mike's shop and his family did help me to get to practice being around people when I've been so alone for so long. And so it's different and it's easier. And I can tell I'm healthier emotionally and everything. So it's easier to do these things. So I've been having some conversations with my son. I always had in the back of my mind that my property would become my son's when I pass away. And so I now have permission. I am going to put his name on the title. Um, and over time, my son and his family will be moving to my property or to the property and the cabin. And so I am going to try to hook him up so he can communicate with my neighbor Brent, who has more of a lifestyle like my son does. Um, my son evidently is quite a gamer, and so he's concerned about power, and he knows about off-grid stuff. He did come spend some time in Costa Rica when I was living down there, but he has concerns that are concerns of someone who's lived a more normal life and not off-grid. And so there's the beginning plans of my son after January, so into next year at some time, making a trip out to finally see the property for the first time. And when he does, like I said, what I would like is for him to get out and just go, "Oh, this is horrible. I don't want to be out here." Or, "Oh my God, mom, yes." And so but I already have permission to put the property, to put his name on the title along with mine. That will make it easier if something were to happen to me. If I put it down that this property is owned by my name and his name, or my name or his name, if something happens to me, he can more easily just take over ownership of the property and that not be an issue. And so even if it's nothing but an investment, it's an improvement. Whatever. I think you guys get that. So now I can focus on why I'm doing all this stuff. It's not just for me. And if I think about somebody else and what's appropriate, and that I'll be schooling him on, wait a minute, buddy, don't put all your money in that. That idea is great, but don't put all your money into that thing. You know, yes, as you're downsizing, of course, he's not going to get rid of tools. He works with his, he's, how do I put this? He's kind of a blue collar worker, but he's a machinist, mechanic, electrician thing. I, I, I don't, I'm not even sure how to describe it, but he will have tools and things like that. And so I'll encourage that we somehow set up some kind of tool storage thing that's appropriate for a place with, there you go. Thank you, Beth. I couldn't think of it. I couldn't think of a good term. Yeah, skilled blue collar. And he works with like robotics and stuff. So um but this way I can help him to set it up so it's already easier uh, for for a couple with a baby to come out there and survive. And so if the poop hits the fan soon, they could just show up and we'd figure it out. But if it doesn't and they take time to come, then I can encourage them as they're downsizing for what's important and what's not. And so he is a professional, yes. And he's concerned about if he comes too soon that he doesn't know how he would work and things like that. But he doesn't understand the area either. And that's why I'm going to try to hook him up with a couple of people that are, already out there. And For the first time, he saw my videos maybe yesterday and just went, "Oh my gosh, mom, I had no idea. I thought you just had a shack." He goes, "Your little cabin is like, did you insulate that thing?" Well, of course I insulated, right? Michael Murphy helped a whole freaking lot, didn't he, Babs? And Babs helped a whole lot when we were finishing up that cabin. So it's well insulated and it's well put together. I'm disappointed in my plank snap together flooring because the way it was installed, it's not all snapped. And so it pops apart all the time. I'm disappointed in that. I now understand I would have put in a sheet of roll vinyl flooring way before I would have done snap together. It's not in my book, wasn't worth it. Because once I spilled some water, and it just goes between the cracks and down in the subfloor. But mine was well built, and I didn't spill much water. So that feels positive and like all my efforts were not for nothing, because there were two people in my life as COVID was happening that I thought needed my help to survive the zombie apocalypse, right, of COVID. And I was under the impression that within 6 months of like, when did all that like come down the pike? Like, I don't know, within 6 months of like, I don't remember, April, March, April, January, February, March. So maybe February, March, within 6 months, those two particular disabled people, I totally thought were going to be living on my property. They've never even showed up. And I have felt a normal emotional reaction to that, because it was like, well, crap, I built this just for you. And I did that so that you could serve, because I know you can hardly walk sometimes. And how are you going to get through this? Well, okay, well, God had other plans. Deep breath. But I don't know. And then when I was here and one of them contacted me, I got kind of pissed. And if you're on here and I don't know you're on here, I love you. That's not a bad comment, okay? But it's like, I got kind of pissed. And I said something to him about how, did you even know I did like half of what I did was for you specifically, because I thought you couldn't stay alive without some help. And at least I knew how to help you. And so I had the little conversation with that person. And I mean, I still love them and we still see each other, and I will still, once in a while text and check in. But now it's like, well, maybe because I had that thought about them, I did as much as I did. So it's easier as this next situation comes up. Well, that makes me feel like I didn't waste all my energy, right? Because sometimes you don't, we none of us mean to waste energy, but we're trying to help people. But sometimes God has his plan, and it kind of takes all these, you know, curve curveballs get thrown, and you don't know why. I don't know why. And then here, bam, whoa, I'm glad I have this, and I'm glad I have that. And I've been considering, I don't know that I'll do it, but I've been considering switching my greenhouse, which is not a greenhouse, into a chicken coop. But I don't want to be there to keep chickens, to be honest with you. I just don't. I don't even eat that many eggs. So, but we'll see what happens. But my son and his wife, they loves to stay home. So that's kind of cool. So, all right. So that's that conversation. What else do you guys need to hear about? The only other thing with the possibility of me being moving, like on wheels, by the end of the week, still has not all the way sunk in. Okay. And but with that possibility, have started to process, well, when I'm headed on this 11 and a half hour trip, need to be a little careful that just like I did on the way up here, because it'll be a new to me vehicle, that I'm taking appropriate care to only drive a certain amount of time and to be near mechanics that are capable, that I know. Since a lot of people are aiming towards Arizona for the winter, so I got in contact with a couple of folks I know. I know that the Homes on Wheels Alliance thing, they're doing their thing in Pahrump, I don't know, in another week or so. So I contacted a couple of buddies that I know are not HOA approved, because they didn't do that mechanics, but you know what I mean. Anyways, so I contacted a couple of them. Okay, Tim Connolly, he's a buddy, and just said, "Are you going to be down near Pahrump? Because I know that whole thing's going on soon." Oh yeah. And I was like, if I was able to be mobile, could I come spend nights near you? Could I come spend nights somewhere near you if, if I'm like my first night away from here or something, just in case, because driving a car I don't know, I don't want to run into the same problem I got here. So, and got an okay with that. And then this morning I asked G, since G's headed that way too, hey, any chance we can buddy travel a little bit so that I can feel like I'm safely getting home with a car I don't know? And come on, I haven't driven in 3 freaking months. I know that's silly because it's not like you forget how, but it just feels weird. So I need you guys to give me some questions. Ask me questions. But I don't know. I don't even know what this car looks like, really. But the big things I wanted to tell you about was why this is taking so long and how I was dealing with my health and my food in an emergency sense, because, yeah, it is like riding a bike. And the emergency food, being on carnivore, healing up and putting my MS in remission. Now, there is something I want to talk about with the carnivore diet thing. And that is that a lot of people get on carnivore and the first thing they do is, oh, I lost all this weight. I didn't lose a whole bunch of weight. Okay. But I've done some research on that and thought about it because, I never loved that I'm a larger person, but I'm the same size I was in high school. So, and the people in my family, they just were a different size. And so, I can't be upset with that. Did I love it when I was a little bit smaller than this? Yeah. But when I was a raw vegan and I was 130 pounds, I looked like a skeleton. And I fought to stay 130 pounds. Like I had to count every almond, every olive, and I was always having urgent bathroom problems. And so I don't want to be that, I don't want to be small for that reason. And now that I'm older and I have wrinkles and everything else, like it's not the important thing. For me, the important thing is to not be paralyzed, because I've been paralyzed 5 times. Some of y'all know that. So, so what I've done for emergency food and why I switched from calling it Lion Diet, which is strict, to calling it carnivore or animal-based diet, because in this kind of like emergency situation where I can't just get to a grocery store, I had to order from, thank goodness for, I was so blessed to be able to get UPS deliveries and that I have Amazon's low income Prime membership. So I was able to order what I call carnivore animal based food off of Amazon. And what I was able to order was some dry carne seca, jars of tallow, raw honey that pulls it away from being just strict carnivore to being animal based, and raw goat's milk powder that's coming out of New Zealand. Um, and then I got some of the super expensive, I won't buy it again, too expensive. I got one package of the LMNT electrolytes, too expensive. But I was having leg cramps. And I found through Ken Berry's stuff an less expensive electrolyte drops. And I won't even have the trash, which would be nice. And then Redmond Real Salt. And so those things, and I allowed myself to have some fruit. For a little while, I was getting green plantain flour and making pancakes and having the raw honey on those. I did that for a while, but I started to have the urgent bathroom issues again. And I don't want to gross anybody out. If you don't like the sounds of bathroom things, close your ears just for a minute, and I'll be done in a minute. Okay, so do this, and then I'll take my hands away when I'm done talking about it. The other thing was that I started to notice the crystals in my urine again. Crystals in your urine are often an oxalate, and it usually comes from plants. And so I had had some figs, some fruit, and the green plantain flour. And I did not react in any bad way, but that little bit of extra urgency and the crystals made me say, no, not now. So that extra urgency and crystals made me say, not now. But if it was a big celebration, somebody's wedding or a birthday, or, well, I don't do birthdays, but you get my drift, something celebratory, I would probably do an animal based thing, like allow myself to have the extra dairy of the goat milk and honey to make or goat milk and fruit to make like an ice cream or something. That would be okay. But for now, oh, that's wonderful, Beth. And magnesium does work like that. Do you guys know about Van Man's tallow based skincare products? I've never bought them, but I love what he's doing. And I use tallow on my skin too. So I know that the skin is something that will heal. Mine will tighten back up. Oh, I started to tell you that about the weight loss piece. As I did more research, I've learned that when you get on this super nutritious stuff, of the feeding your body the meats with the fats and the organ meats and stuff. By the way, I really love liver now. I used to hate it, but whatever. I haven't had it in a while, but you some people, depending on how bad their health is and whatnot, some people will gain weight first, and then they will maybe hit a plateau thing, but they won't lose weight until their body heals sufficiently enough so that they can then their body automatically, once it's done healing a lot of stuff, then it will get rid of the unnecessary fat stores. Does that make sense? And you might lose weight. And so what I'm seeing with longer term carnivores is that there's a big change in the beginning within a few weeks. And like I said, IBS and urgency in the bathroom just disappeared within 2 or 3 weeks. And then I had to adjust because I had a little constipation. So there, then I had to adjust my method. And then as I learned how to do it, not a problem at all. It's wonderful. And then and then so most people have some kind of improvement in the beginning, and then like nothing. But at 3 years, there's another big change. And then at 5 years, if you look back at pictures of yourself, you'll go, oh crap. So I'm not worried about whatever my weight is. I am focused on making sure this MS stays in remission so that I am no longer at risk of um, being paralyzed or having walking issues or anything of that nature. So that's where I'm at with that. And it's working, and I'm happy. And so it was either the 23rd or the 26th of December. I'm at, I think, 8 months, if that my math is right. And I'm doing great. So my MS has been in full remission 2.5 months, something like that. So yeah, and yes, I am. The only plant I have is occasional coffee, and I won't always stick with the goat milk powder. But this is kind of an emergency situation, and the goat milk powder and the honey has been the most consistent thing I could even buy to keep me on carnivore while I've been through this like emergency situation. So, in an emergency situation, you can live off honey. I'm not saying this is fun, but you can. And so that's that diet thing. What can we move on to? By the way, Beth, because you're kind of interested in this and I see your comments, I've been wondering what I could do to make that would be interesting to me that I could sell or something. And I've actually thought, I used to, years ago, when my kids were little, I used to make aftershave, natural aftershave. I used to make natural aftershave and flavored vinegars and oils. Well, I don't want to do that anymore because I don't even use them. But I did think about the fact that I could do the tallow and then the tallow based um, um, moisturizers and things like that. I thought about it. Then it was like, I don't know. I could make, pemmican bars. That would be simple. Oh, I'm thinking about, haven't bought it yet, but I'm seriously thinking about getting one of the Dash that makes the little tiny waffle machines that are only 200 watts or 300 watts. They make a little tiny dehydrator with trays. And it's only 200 watts and it'll run off my Rock Pals. I'm seriously thinking about getting that so I have the ability to make my own jerky more easily, even on the road. Now, that means I would have to carry another little package about that big, but I think it would be worth it. So, yeah, coconut's good too. But I think with me doing all this healing using the ruminant meat stuff, I want to kind of stick with that as I'm healing up really good. And I did have a shaman, a real shaman guy from a village on the beach in Panama tell me that me, Lesa, should not be having too much coconut. And every time I got near really elderly, 80, 90-year-old indigenous people down in Central America, the healers were, I didn't go to them on purpose, but when they would find me, they were all saying bone broth, Miss Lesa, stop the fresh bone broth, boil the fish bones, anything, bone broth, get it in you, girl. You need this really bad. And I only listened a little bit. I should have listened better. But yeah, tallow. And previous to my doing the tallow, because it's so simple to make, okay, um, I know about lanolin, and I've been trying to get real lanolin. And then I thought, well, this is silly. When I'm at home, the closest grocery store to me, which is about 25, 30 miles away, something like that, um, is actually owned by the Navajo Nation, or yeah, run by them. It's a Bashes. Um, their shelf always has mutton, which is lamb, sheep products, right? And all their mutton is the fattiest stuff you've ever seen. Well, it never like entered my brain to just cook down get a couple of handfuls of fat from the butcher. And now in the case of being up there, you got to pay for it. You got to pay regular price for it. They're not going to give you any deal on fat at that store because of the way the indigenous folks from the Navajo Nation, the way they use it. And so, but now in other places, when you're getting the fat trimmings, like down a Quartzsite, um, I don't remember the name of, at the Roadrunner Market, I don't remember the butcher's name, but I hooked the butcher up with the lion diet. He had serious IBS and Crohn's disease. And he met me, and then I was getting these smoking deals on getting beef fat trimmings. And making tallow out of that is like the simplest, can't talk, is one of the simplest things there is to do. Yeah, just render the fat. And so if I render the fat of mutton when I can get it, like at home, I'll pay more for it. Then you get lanolin. Well, lanolin is, they use it for babies, and it's an old school medicine for all kinds of things, but it's super good for your skin. And I had been hunting for some good lanolin without thinking about like doing it. That was like silly of me to not think of it. But anyway, and then the tallow is just easy because rendering the fat to do that too. And of course, once you're doing that, and I cook on fire anyways, then you have ashes. Ashes make lye. You put the two together, you have super good soap. But it's a thing. You got to learn how to do it. You got to be safe. Not tell anybody to do these things without being safe. Yes. And lanolin is waterproof, and sheep are really, really gentle ruminant animals. That meat is really healing and good for you. Oh, did you? Okay. I'm sorry about that, Mary. But I like to spin yarn too. Speaking of spinning yarn, let's go back to little projects, because I've been hunting for what's something I can do when I'm on the road that I used to paint. I used to do all these things. So do all kinds of stuff. I just don't want to do what I knew how to do before. I don't know what I want to do. And I'm not a quilter and, whatever. I saw the directions on how to do this thing the other day. I need a 2 millimeter crochet hook. And I'm not a crocheter, okay? But I need a 2 millimeter crochet hook. And I need a whole mess of shopping bags. And I'm going to try doing something and see how it comes out. I'll show you guys when I try it. I don't want to spill the beans too. I don't want you to jump the gun on me and get better at it than me. That's bad. That sounds horrible. I want to have fun with it. And so, I want to have fun with it. Let's see how that works. Okay. You guys got questions? So my trip, as this develops, my trip will be to head south. I want to, have the car checked over by a mechanic and make sure I'm safe before I leave. Then I will probably make the first stop somewhere near Pahrump and the second stop somewhere near Flagstaff. Iris, I'm looking for you. I want to bump into Iris, but I know some of y'all will be headed to Havasu pretty quick because Flagstaff's getting cold and it's pretty wet with all this precipitation that we're having so far this winter. And I need to go back to the cabin, probably need to do a little regrouping, and I need to make sure I'm getting those rats away from the foundation on the cabin because they had started looking at it, and I need to at least set up some big bucket traps where they can just drown. That's nasty, but I need to do it. Because I don't want the rats living underneath the cabin and then having snakes go in there too and start chewing on the floorboards or something. That would like piss me off. So I need to go take care of that as soon as I can. And I have all these conversations coming up with my son. And so it looks like my son maybe depends on the transportation we can maneuver for him to get to me. Because driving and spending a week with me is ridiculous. So probably getting him to fly somewhere, having somebody help me pick him up or something. Depends, kind of depends. But he said come January, he gets a new 3 weeks of vacation. And he wants to at least come for a week. Whether he comes alone or with his wife and the baby, I don't know. And he wants to come up to the property so that he can go, oh my God, this is horrible. Or, oh my God, yes. So if he tries to come in like February, it'll be cold. We'll have to be careful with, we'll have to use the wood stove and do things like that. And I don't know if he's coming alone, that would be okay. If he comes in a more temperate, if he comes at a better temperature, then it is smart for him to come first alone and for a week. And then he's still got 2 weeks to spend with his family of his vacation sometime. But however this works out, if he comes when it's super cold and I go up to meet him and it's possibly ugly and possibly snow or mud, or at least he'd get to see that. But if he comes when it's a little more mild and the family comes, I might allow a few of you choice people to throw your name in the hat to get picked to come up and camp with us at the property. That's a possibility. Oh, okay. So you're going down to Sedona. Okay. I think I'm again invited for Thanksgiving in Sedona. This lady where I'm house sitting, she's headed to Cottonwood, which is south of Sedona this weekend. And so, okay, I see what your plans are. Not 100% where I'm at, but Iris, do you have my number so you can text me? If you don't, you could private message me on Facebook or send me an email, and I'll give you one of my numbers. I have 2 numbers. I have my SimplyLesa, like business number. That one's 347-410-6480. But text me and so that we can meet up. And never learn. So Mary will know about this. I love a drop spindle. I know it makes a little bulkier yarn and a little more nubby yarn because the character of what you're thinking about at the time and how tight you're pulling is part of the thing. But I love spinning. It's kind of a cool thing. You have email. Okay. Well, email me. I'll give you one of those phone numbers so that you can text me. Okay. And let's get you and I together as soon as it's possible. Okay. I want to do that. I want to make sure I want to meet up with you before you get too far. I I could go home through Sedona, but it's a little out of my way, so I probably won't do that. Yes, you can. And I bet you're really good at it, Mary. You have a way. We have things in common, you and you know I love you too, Mary. Um so yeah, I don't know, guys, I don't know what else to talk about today. I know I kind of talk and talk and talk, but let's um trying to give you as much info as I can. Trying to encourage my son to get rid of half the stuff he thinks he needs and bring twice the money. Um, I'm trying to remind him what's possible. He said something about yeah, but she's so used to a microwave and a refrigerator, and then she says, yeah, but I was raised by hippie people up in like Oregon or somewhere, and they lived in a bus for a while. And she was like, it's not like I have to do that stuff. It's just we got it. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, she's a little more open than I thought. And so I don't know. So we'll work out. We'll work out these things, okay, people? God just keeps throwing curveballs, and some of them are exciting and good and scary all at the same time. And the mixed emotions is, sometimes incredible. Chevy Trackers can be good vehicles. If you get a first gen with a 1.6 liter 16 valve engine, check it over really, really good. Do you know, Jeremy, if you're still here, do you know that I kept saying to Stan, I don't know how many times, but Stan, where's my coolant going? Because I filled the coolant, the carpet's not wet, there's no oil, there's no water in my oil, but where's the coolant going? I bet my block was cracked or the head was bad the whole time I drove that car. And it just never was bad enough to be a problem. But I know sometimes the mechanics are so freaking busy that they hear you, but it doesn't like register because they're too busy. And it's not an immediate, I need this fixed. And I didn't know. So when the head gasket went, and it wasn't only the head gasket block too, that's, an engine. Trackers can be good, but the 1.6 liter 16 valve engines are nearly impossible to find in the United States. You can find parts and you can find the engines in Central America. Hard to find here. So, okay, I'm getting ready to go too because I'm done today. I haven't walked you outside. There was a herd of deer out the back door earlier. I went to grab the phone and they heard me and ran off. So, bye, Iris. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at today. I got a little, well, of course, I'm not messy. I could show you. I'm not messy. Let me put this on this way. I'm not messy. That's my bag of clothes. I have a red bag hanging off the leg of that table on the other side. Well, that black table, what's on top is my food stuff and my dish soap. That's it. That's all I have with me. Well, my coat's on the back of that chair, my rain jacket, because it was really pouring yesterday. And so when this homeowner comes home, I'm going to sleep on this window seat area for a few days while we're figuring out the vehicle thing that has come up. And honestly, as much as this little bedroom is so cute, and it really is cute and beautiful and all of that, for me personally, the bed's too close to the wall, for me personally. And I'm allergic to down, and her comforter, which is really warm and nice, is down. And her walls had at one point gotten wet. And so there's a little mildew smell in that room. That's a little hard for me to sleep in that room. And so it'll be better sleeping out here. Um, and I might even start sleeping out there early. Um, cool. Double treadle. Oh, cool. Cool, cool. Do you know my mother had, when they moved from Maine to Virginia, they got an 8-foot loom. And the living room of that old farmhouse that has now burned down, that they restored, they rebuilt an old farmhouse, and it's since burned to the ground. But that living room had an 8-foot walking, or an 8-foot loom in that room. And you had the treadle, the pedals, the treadles. You had to do put the shovel through it. It was a very relaxing job. It was just a lot of work to set that thing up. And the kitchen that Dad built, the kitchen addition that he built onto that house, he built an 8-foot walk-in fireplace with a cast iron crane and an oven. So that was a nice. It was kind of a nice place. Yeah, that was a moment of wow. That was a while back, and that place burned. I've thought, these thoughts have gone through my mind sometimes. When I was younger, we made, yep, the War from the West, yep. When we were younger, I used to love to weave baskets. And we'd go out and get grapevines or blackberry bush vines and pull the thorns off, and or anything. I still want to do pine needle baskets. I I think I started one once, but I never finished them. And my grandmother had given me, I don't have it, but my grandmother had given me once a sweet straw basket that was made by indigenous in Maine. And she had been with them when they made it or something. I loved that thing. It smelled so good. And it was like my trinket box for years. Yeah. I wouldn't mind doing some grass baskets. Those are cool. Um, but sometimes you run these ideas through your head, or these things about what was home and what meant something to me and what didn't mean anything to me. Um, and it, for me, those memory things help me reprocess. Let me reprocess what is it I would want now. I don't even know what I would want. Yes, wheatgrass is cool. And so it's like, to think about these things. But when I found this, now I knew about Plarn. You girls who are crafty girls, you know about Plarn, yeah? Um, Plarn being yarn that you make out of used shopping bags. Mhm. Our loom, that weaving loom, was 8 foot. I do not even remember how many harnesses it was. It was huge, humongous, huge. It was a lot of work to set it up. Um, but so it just seems so practical to me to be making something that's recycling. And those stupid plastic bags that we all have, in well, I shouldn't tell it that way. In a couple of houses I've been in before, I have pulled out of a kitchen cabinet great big huge black plastic garbage bags full of shopping bags that just got stuffed under the sink. And so I'm going to be hunting for some more Plarn things. Oh, you don't know about Plarn? Okay. So you fold like Walmart shopping bags is what I'm talking about, like Walmart or Dollar General or whatever. You fold them a certain way and make two cuts. And then you have these nice long pieces, and you put them together and they become plastic bag yarn. And when I was in Nicaragua, Nicaragua, I love Nica. When I was in Nicaragua in 2005, first time, I found the coolest recycled stuff. I was like, oh crap. Capri Sun drink bags, whatever those things are. They were making pocketbooks out of them. Old bicycle tire inner tubes makes this really cool leather look purse. I was like, dang. And then, the whole bottle top thing, like the pull tabs off of aluminum cans. You put those things together, right? But some of those items are heavy and kind of impractical. But those bags, yeah, out east, I'm sure, yeah, because like in New York, they they banned those, made them illegal to use in New York City when I was there in 2000, well, in 99 and 2004. Yeah. So, but there's still a lot of those around. And so when you can get your hands on those, make a plarn is a thing. And you can make another fiber, plastic fiber thing. Um, oh, there you go. I used to hand sew. Yeah, I'm going to say it out loud, but I may do it again because I loved making them. I used to hand stitch recycled linen fabric from thrift stores because I have a thing for linen and into um, shopping bags similar to this, where now this one is old enough that you put it in this little zippered pouch comes off and this folds up into this for when you're traveling. Well, I would make shopping bags like this for the farmers market down in Costa Rica, but I made them for years and years and years that I would just hand stitch them and make them either so they folded up into their own pocket or into a little separate bag that you could keep on your keychain. So, and I may do that again because I have a thing for linen. And sometimes you go into thrift stores and it's pretty easy to get some inexpensive, like an old linen shirt in some weird color. And just because it's already colored, who cares, but it's a cool fabric. And then, to sell them at farmers markets is kind of a cool thing. I might do that again because that's kind of something fun to do and it's peaceful hand stitching. What was the other thing I was going to tell you? I don't know what else. I was thinking something else, but it's gone. Oh, the plarn thing. When we were talking about plarn, there's another thing you can do by taking like plastic straws or plastic drink bottles, like the cheap water bottles that are thin. You put them on you make a thing and you put them on a certain way and you can cut them into little tiny strips. And then the strips you can do stuff with. You weave with them and stuff, which is kind of cool. So in dog food and chicken feed, plastic perlet. Yeah, that works too, Beth. Absolutely. Yep. I've seen a lot of those made out of feed bags that are pretty cool. I don't need things like that. And I would prefer to have things that don't have any labels on them. I kind of try to, there's this thing about as humans, it's simple for us to get addicted. What's the other word? We can idolize things like, even like I have a tattoo of a dragonfly. Some people can get so into whatever they feel their animal is that it becomes their world. or their thing. I don't know. I just have this thing about images. It's also why when you see me write the word God, I usually leave the O out of it. I put a dash in. I don't know. It's sort of a, it's kind of a Torah, Talmud kind of thing that I adopted as maybe it reminds me to be careful. And so I'd like to be careful that I'm not doing too many images so that I don't get tripped up over becoming too overly involved with something that's not God. That might sound a little weird, but okay. So it has to do with the have no other images before me thing. And it's a piece of where my thoughts go in that vein. So uh, I tend to like the plain colors and to do things with design. And like I used to love to make cotton nightgowns out of I used to take really good quality cotton sheets that I would find, and I would turn them into these really beautifully hand pleated nighties and stuff. I worked for a shop in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, for a long time. The girl that owned that shop was going to give it to me, but my mother got in the middle of it, and then she came to me one day and she said, "I'm sorry, Lesa. I wanted to bless you and help you have a different life. Your mother's going to ruin you. I can't give it to you because she will not let you have this shop by yourself." But the shop was in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. We were down on the old waterfront in the back of the old on the cobblestone street in the back, and the shop was called Then and Now. And we collected antique and vintage clothing, and this is in the 70s. Um, Antique and vintage clothing, and then I was the fashion designer to make the new, because my skills were good enough to make new stuff. And so I sold some of my designs for $500 or $700 a piece, some gowns and stuff. And, felt pretty cool about that. Um, and uh, and I restored a buffalo coat that went to the Smithsonian, and I made costumes during that time. I was like 16, 17. I can't remember if I was still there for my birthday when I turned 18, but I made costumes for a PBS uh, Civil War reenactment movie. That was an awful lot of pairs of wool breeches that I had to make. But I did it. It was fun. I had a blast with that. Okay. Focus on the dog or the chicken picture. The thing with dragonflies and daisies. I don't know, cattails. Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. I guess I'm just rambling. So, do we want to go say goodbye? Thank you. Thank you. Well, I don't know if you know it, Mary, but when I had my van, um, the van was called Van Tucket. I used to carry extra stuff in the van. And I'd been hunting for, I had one of those little battery operated sewing machines in the van that I used to make curtains for other people. And then I finally replaced it a couple of years ago, and it's at the cabin, but I got one that's both got electric power that'll run on my little battery pack, and you could put some, I think it's C or D batteries in it and run it as well. And because I have skill, I can make that little plastic, nearly toy sewing machine actually do stuff. I just can't make it stitch thick, like 2 layers of denim. If it's flat, I can do it, but I can't do any felled seams that would end up being 3 or 4 layers of denim. You can't do that on those machines. It's not strong enough. But yeah, I got some skills. So So I still have that, and I really like to travel with it because when I bump into people that need window covers or something, I'm like, "Well, man, come on, just get this. Let's just knock this puppy out because there's no reason to be like farting around with this stuff when it can be done. We can do it in a couple of days." I made curtains. Oh, one time in Havasu, I made curtains for a road trek. The guy wanted them to be a certain color on both sides, a certain color from the outside, certain color that he got to look at on the inside. But he wanted me to stitch one of those silver mylar emergency blankets inside the fabric. You got to be careful with that stuff because it'll tear, right? And so we he rented a sewing machine from Walmart. Like he went to Walmart, bought it. We used it for 3 days in the desert and packed it back up in the plastic and everything. And he took it back and returned it to Walmart. So I'm out there with the wind blowing like crazy, like about this time of the year, with the wind blowing, sitting at a table, making curtains for this road trek. Stuff I did. And no, I didn't get paid for it. It was just a freebie. Oh, there you go. Yeah, letting go. It's a whole thing, isn't it? Mary, I wish I could have got up there with you. But at the same time, I know, life happens and here I am. I'm seeing am I puffy or I feel a little tired. Yeah, I guess my eyes a little puffy. Yeah, and the letting go thing. But you know what? I let go of my stuff a long, long time ago. And it is a process. And you think about things when you're going through the process. But you know what? I still have the memories. They didn't go out of the things that I went through, they didn't go out of my mind. And now that I'm so much healthier, all this hard freaking emotional work I have done over the last who knows how many years, 10, 15, 20 years, whatever it is. Um, it is paying off. I mean, I can remember good stuff too. And there was a long time when I could not find the good stuff in my thoughts or my memories. And there's good stuff. Oh, next spring. Yeah. Well, we'll see where we're at in the spring, but it's you know what, Mary? The creative struggle is real. But your ability to use those skills somewhere for some reason will come up. Someone will cross your path and need or want the things you've got to give away. You'll feel better about it. And you'll keep a few things to keep you busy. I had to give up some of mine sometimes in order to heal the emotional stuff. So now I'm actually looking at a Plarn project that I want to do this winter. And it won't be hard, but it'll be pretty practical. And I can imagine that that project could turn into something I could sell a few of. That might. There you go. Yeah. I don't want to have a bunch of stuff tying me down, but I want my skills to be still useful because somewhere along the line, these Plarn things, way back in the day, we used to make Plarn rugs. They were a little slippery and they were really loosely crocheted. Of course, back in the 70s, we used to make t shirt rugs because they were cotton and they're really comfortable to walk on. And you're basically finger crocheting strips of t-shirt cotton together, and you can make room size beautiful rugs. And they're fairly simple to wash, but they're heavy when they're wet. Well, and like old denim rag rugs was a thing in the 60s and 70s, and so those things, you have the skill with you. It's not like it went away. And so if you're in a situation where somebody goes, man, I wish I had a rug I could stand on when I'm out in the boonies, um, When I'm camping out of my car, I want something to walk, to stand on while I'm taking my shower, or just a little rug outside. You pull out the skill, and you remember how to do that finger crochet or whatever it is, and you have you have something to stand on, and you made it yourself, and it won't last long, and who cares? Gave you something to do. We're not bored, whatever. Sometimes these things are good, sometimes, you know so. Well, girls, it's almost 2 hours of this, and this has been good, though. Sitting in Mississippi with a blown diesel engine. What up? Oh, wow. Oh, yep. Sorry about that, Beth. What are you traveling, Beth? What are you in? Oh, okay, Mary. Mary, I'm just seeing your comment about you feel like you're spinning your wheels and wasting time. I felt like that since I've broken down here. And when we're sitting around a campfire over the winter and we're able to talk a little more openly, you know, we can share those feelings and thoughts and stuff like that. But I felt like that too. Like, okay, God, what am I doing? And here I am, helping dig a duck pond for a family I don't even know, and making my ribs hurt for to help somebody else, yes, because I could envision that they needed a break from some um, some responsibility for the care of their animals, and that by helping them dig that, it would free up a few hours so they could either rest a little bit more or work a little bit more, whatever was appropriate. So, um, but at the same time, the thought running through that, like, I'm making my body hurt and I'm tired. I don't want to do this for people I don't know. And it's like, okay, thank you, God, for this project. But can I turn this around so I can be doing this so it benefits somebody I actually am going to be around or I know? So that the benefit is, and then I was like, well, maybe I'm being a little, not judgmental. What would be being a little stuck up or something, and that's not fair. And I'm like, okay, God, whatever's right. But it would be kind of cool that if I'm digging the pond, that of course I'm going to do it where it's useful in this moment. But it would be nice if I'm getting that tired and it's benefiting somebody I know. And as I'm saying that, of course it is, but you get my drift. So having the skill, whatever. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't have the money to fix it. And I know what you mean. I mean, because I'm nervous about taking this situation in front of me and driving away. And can I really come back after the tracker? But I will come back after the tracker. Because if nothing else, if I can find a way to store it closer to home, at least I'll have two vehicles when my son shows up, and they're capable vehicles. And but we'll see, because I don't even know what this one I'm getting really is. And is the one I'm getting something I'm going to keep a long time, or does it just need to be, run through my hands for a short time and then I'm back in the other one? I don't know that answer, but got to let God lead me through that. That's the best I got. Yeah, I hear you, Beth, on that one. Yeah, exactly, Beth. Exactly. Yeah, be careful what you ask for, because sometimes you just get it. And sometimes you haven't thought it through. So I've learned, because I made some mistakes along the way, um, like all of us, and I still do. But I've learned to always end everything, start it with and end it, anything I'm asking for, with, hey, God, remember, I'm just trying to follow your lead. So your will, not mine. And please show me how to make my will match yours. But please make it good for the whole of humanity, or the whole, more than me. And please make it your will, not my will. Because if we're going with only my mentality, I'm going to ask you for XYZ, and maybe it's not what I need. And so I try to put all those comments in every time I'm in a mode of, I don't know what to do here. I need something. And so please, God, please, when you work with what I'm about to request, please make this good for the all, and make my will come toward yours, because I don't know what you got going on. And this may be challenging for me, but give me the strength and the wisdom to maneuver this in a God family, God-like way. Help me to see with different eyes and with other perspectives how to maneuver the maze that you have given me in my life, so that we're helping everybody. Help the bigger, not just me. I, you know, if I had asked in this particular 3-month situation I've been in, if I had said, hey, God, just fix my car. Well, he might have just fixed it, but I might have got 20 miles up the road and broke down again. So instead, I said, hey, whatever is best for the all. If you can use my example while we're waiting, if I can talk about the situation and help somebody see another way to frame what they're going through, I don't even know. And yes, the gratefulness, Beth, the gratefulness and the thank you before I get started, because I already know you got my back. And I already am thankful for everything you throw in my path, every curveball that you throw at me. I am grateful for, God. I don't know how I'm going to maneuver this, but I know with your help I can do it. And I know when I speak I am statements, I, Lesa, am very careful with them, because every time I say I am, I'm talking about the great creator, because the I am that I am is God. And that's the great creator, or the great one, or some people call him the great spirit, but I like great creator. And I'm like, every time I say I am, I'm describing God. And so I try to be careful. When I say I am tired, sure, God got tired too. That's why he rested on Sabbath. Okay. But I can reframe that idea with a new perspective. I am emotionally I feel instead of I am. I feel tired this week. And I am so grateful that you've given me the opportunity to be in this home and this house, and to rest without interruptions, with the ability to research all I want on a larger screen of the TV that's in this house. I had an experience the other day with the chickens. I heard commotion and I was like, I'll go out in a minute and check. Got out there, one of the chickens was dead. Couldn't figure out what happened to the chicken. She only had, I don't know, I think she had either 8 or 10 chickens. Well, when I texted the woman and told her that I was really sorry, I had to inform her. Well, before I did that, I'm out there and I'm going, God, I don't know why to be grateful for this, but I'm grateful. Help me to know what to do next and how to handle this best. So then I'm texting the woman who owns the house that one of the chickens has passed, and that I have tried to do what I could and can't help it. Don't know what happened, but heard a commotion, have known there were dogs around, but can't figure out where the dogs are coming from. Moved a couple of things so that there was a way that however an animal got in, they could get in. Getting out was easy. And I was like, yeah. So, hi, Minjeet, how are you? Um, we're getting ready to go soon. I'm about done today, so but welcome to the community for a few more minutes. So anyway, so in this situation, I'm thanking God, but I don't know why for this chicken situation. And I'm texting the owner at the same time as the owner's texting me and saying, by the way, somebody's coming to pick up most of the chickens. We're going to keep two. And it's this one and that one. And I went, oh, how weird, because I just sent you, sorry, I just sent you the message, about this. And she goes, well, that's interesting. And then I saw the dogs later. So I was able to tell her that I really think it was the dogs, but that I'm not sure the dogs they might have got in and got out, but they weren't able to they, I think they scared the chicken into a corner and it got its head stuck in, yeah. Anyways, but and then the same day, I'm outside at 9:30 at night with these girls that I had never met before, helping them get the chickens so they could take them to their new home, and then keeping the two. And then it was 36 degrees that night. They were worried about another frost. And, so I'm checking on the chickens and make sure they're all right. And so it's been a whole thing. Um, exactly. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. In the midst, there is a way you can get to a point where you say, thank you for this. I'll understand. Help me to have some kind of peace about it so that I can rest when I need to rest. Have me rest when I need to. Have me. And Mary, I just got this thing with my food recently because I've been feeling all these kind of shaming thoughts about how I was eating or because I can't get any better. It's all I can get. And so it was a whole thing, right? About, well, crap, I don't want to be eating honey all the time, and then it dawned on me to be grateful that I have the emergency food during the emergency. Well, I hadn't even thought about it as emergency food. And then I was like, yeah, okay. Okay. So, yeah, of course I'm going to not eat the honey when I'm able to have steak because I want the steak, right? And I'm not going to eat the plantain flour when I can get perhaps a real plantain and cook it in tallow. Then we're going to have patacones that are like the bomb. But uh so I had not I had not changed my perspective about some of what's been happening for me this past 3 months. And now I'm grateful for the fact that that came to me last night and this morning. And of course, I didn't talk about the fact that this week, starting last night when Sabbath, well, starting yesterday with the beginning of Sabbath yesterday, is the Feast of Tabernacles. Or I think Jewish people, I don't know that I pronounce it right, but I think they say Sukkot. Um, but I remember, you're supposed to spend it camping and in closeness with other believers and having special foods and special interactions. And here I am in this situation, and I may be leaving here right at the end of the Feast of Tabernacles, and that's going to be fine this year. I'm okay with what's happening. I'm so blessed, and so it'll be okay. But to me, the holy days mark times of the year and help me with my remembrance of things that have to do with the great creator. and they they help me to have not only daily and weekly routine, it allows me to have annual routine as well. And those things are good for my perspective and my growth. So I see that. So, um, so I'm seeing this new person and you guys talking with this Swami person. And welcome, Manjit Swami. Welcome, welcome. And I apologize for not. We're kind of at the end of our Sunday live chat. I'm awful glad you came in today. Don't know what brought you or if there's anything special, but you are more than welcome to come back any Sunday. I try most Sundays at 9:30 Arizona time. I try to be on here, and we've been doing this for, we're going on our second year. I don't know the date yet. Um, but anybody's welcome. And we try to share good perspective, change, and life stuff. And so, guys, I'm going to say goodbye. You all have a wonderful, wonderful week. Pray for everybody. Oh, let me give you a quick update on Homer and Catherine. They're still in Snowflake. They are having quite a bit of wind in Snowflake at the time. That's in Arizona. Evidently, they're still having some wind, and their rig still is broken down, but they're in a safe place, and they seem to be kind of happy-ish where they are. But I think that they really want to eventually move to Quartzsite and get into, he's like 75 or something. Oh, hey, how are you, girl? Uh-huh. Banjo's mom listened to me. I'm like hunting for names. I can see the family without Dana. Look at all the family. Dana, I understand you bought property in Concho. Good for you. Yeah, you all enjoy your day. Have a great week. Pray for each other. Do what you can for yourself. Remember to be grateful. Travel light and often. It changes your perspective. And hang in there. Banjo's mom. I know. It was like, Dana, where's your name? Okay. So, Dana, just catch you up real quick, and we can talk on our own, because you have my number. You can text me. It looks like I'm somehow getting another vehicle and might be able to leave this weekend. And I will fix the tracker over the winter or over time and get it and have it as well. Okay, we'll talk later. Y'all pray for each other. Hang in there. And I'll see y'all down the road. All right. Ciao.